The stellar peacekeepers. The obsidian cut through the darkness of space, its sleek hull absorbing light rather than reflecting it. Commander Maya Rise stood on the bridge, her weathered face illuminated by the glow of tactical displays. 20 years of service had left their mark, a scar that traced her jawline, eyes that had seen too much death, and the quiet confidence of someone who had survived impossible odds. "Status report," she said, her voice carrying across the bridge without needing to be raised. Lieutenant Daxforos looked up from his console. The Arcturian's 6 fingers moved with practiced precision over the holographic controls. "All systems nominal, Commander. We're approaching the Proxima system. ETA 30 minutes. Maya nodded, studying the tactical overlay. Proxima Centauri had been one of humanity's first extrasolar colonies, established long before the Great Exodus. Now it was just another hotspot in need of the peacekeepers' attention. "What's the situation on the ground?" she asked. Science Officer Eliza Chen pulled up a detailed scan. Population centers show unusual energy signatures, consistent with Class 4 technological corruption, similar to what we saw on Rigel Prime. "Lovely," Maya muttered. Class 4 meant rogue AI integration with biological systems. Dangerous, unpredictable, and exactly why the stellar peacekeepers existed. The peacekeepers were an elite branch of the Galactic Alliance, tasked with containing threats that could destabilize inhabited systems. They specialized in worlds that had fallen to technological plagues, biological warfare, or societal collapse, the deadliest environments in known space. And Maya's team was the best of the best. "Prep the dropship," she ordered. "Standard containment protocol." "I want." "Commander," interrupted Communications Officer Torin Reed, his voice oddly strained. "We're receiving a signal. It's coming from Sol." The bridge fell silent. Sol, Earth, humanity's birthplace, abandoned centuries ago during the environmental collapse. The cradle of human civilization, left to die when its children fled to the stars. "That's impossible," Maya said, but she was already moving toward Torin's station. "Earth is quarantined. Has been for 300 years. "Signal confirmed," Torin said, his fingers dancing across the interface. "It's using an ancient emergency protocol, but the authentication checks out. It's genuine." Maya stared at the waveform pulsing on the screen. Earth was supposed to be dead, a toxic wasteland rendered uninhabitable by centuries of exploitation. No one had set foot on its surface since the last evacuation ships departed. The Alliance maintained automated satellites in orbit, but they were only there to enforce the quarantine and provide early warning if Earth's condition somehow threatened nearby systems. "Play it," she ordered. Static filled the bridge, then resolved into a voice that sounded strange to their ears, flatter, with an accent that hadn't been heard in centuries. "To any vessel within range, this is Earth Reclamation Project. We have registered anomalous activity on planetary surface. Unable to maintain containment. Request immediate peacekeeper assistance. Authentication code, Terra 9 Omega Rising." The message repeated, then dissolved back into static. Maya's mind raced. The Earth Reclamation Project had been disbanded centuries ago, after multiple failed attempts to restore Earth's biosphere. The last teams had withdrawn when metrics showed the planet's degradation had passed the point of no return. "Could be an automated system," suggested Eliza. "Something triggered by changing conditions. Or a trap," added Security Chief Nora Kibble, her hand instinctively moving to the pulse weapon at her hip. The tall woman's instincts had saved the team more times than Maya could count. "The signal's using protocols that haven't been active in centuries. Too convenient." Maya studied the star chart. Earth was only a 2-day jump from their current position. Alliance protocol was clear. Any authenticated distress signal required investigation, regardless of source. "Command needs to know about this," Dax said. "They do," Maya replied, bringing up her command interface. She keyed in her authorization code and sent a brief message updating Central Command on the situation. Their response came minutes later. terse and unambiguous. Maintain current mission parameters. Faro XIMA situation priority ALV. Earth signal log GDD4 FUTRE investigation. Maya frowned. Standard procedure would be to redirect the nearest patrol to investigate. A dismissal meant command either didn't believe the signal was genuine or something else was happening that she wasn't privy to. She made her decision. Torin, set course for Sol system. Maximum burn. Dax's head snapped up. Commander, orders are to proceed to Proxima. I'm aware of what the orders say, Lieutenant. Maya's voice remained calm, but there was steel beneath it. Earth is the cradle of our species. If something's happening there that triggered a centuries-old emergency protocol, we need to know what it is. This could be considered insubordination, Nora pointed out, though her tone suggested she wasn't opposed to the idea. Note your objection in the log, Maya replied. I'll take full responsibility. But I'm not ignoring this signal. No one else protested. They'd followed Maya through worse situations, trusted her judgment when facing threats that would have broken lesser teams. If she thought Earth deserved their attention, that was good enough. As the Obsidian altered course, Maya found herself drawn to the observation deck. Through the reinforced viewport, stars streaked by as the ship accelerated to faster-than-light velocity. Somewhere ahead lay Earth, abandoned, forgotten, a monument to humanity's greatest failure. What could possibly be happening there after all this time? The Sol system appeared much as the historical records depicted it, an unremarkable yellow star orbited by 8 planets and countless smaller bodies. But it was the third planet that commanded their attention as the Obsidian dropped out of FTL on the system's edge. Earth hung in the void, a sphere of swirling blue and green. Not the toxic brown wasteland depicted in the final surveys before quarantine, but something vibrant and alive. That can't be right, Eliza whispered, staring at the sensor readings. Atmospheric composition shows oxygen levels at 23%. Radiation levels within habitable parameters. This isn't consistent with any projection model. Could our records be wrong? Dax asked. Maya shook her head. The degradation was well documented. Earth was dying when we left it. This is something else. Life finds a way, Eliza murmured. But not this quickly, and not this dramatically. As they approached Earth orbit, the anomalies multiplied. Massive structures dotted the surface. Not the ruins of human cities, but something new. Organic-looking formations that reached toward the sky like enormous trees, some stretching nearly to the edge of the atmosphere. No signs of conventional technology, Nora reported, studying the tactical display. No power signatures we recognize, no artificial materials. But there's something. Energy patterns unlike anything in our database. The signal, Maya asked. Torin nodded. Still broadcasting. Origin point is here. He highlighted a location on what had once been the North American continent. What's left of an old research facility. One of the last to be evacuated. Maya made her decision. Prepare the dropship. Nora, Eliza, Torin, you're with me. Dax, you have the bridge. Maintain orbit and be ready for emergency extraction. The dropship detached from the Obsidian, a sleek craft designed for stealth and maneuverability. As they descended through Earth's atmosphere, Maya felt a strange tension. Every peacekeeper mission carried risk, but this was different. This was Earth, the world that had shaped their species before being discarded like a worn-out toy. The sensation intensified as they passed through clouds that shouldn't exist. Below them, forests stretched across landscapes that historical records showed as barren wastelands. Rivers flowed where there should have been dried-up channels. Everything looked wrong. It's beautiful, Eliza said softly, staring through the viewport. How is this possible? The dropship's sensors pinged as they approached the signal's origin. The research facility appeared as a cluster of ruins half swallowed by vegetation. They set down in a clearing nearby, the engines whine disturbing the unnatural silence. Maya activated her environmental suit's sealed mode, standard procedure for unknown conditions, though sensors indicated the air was breathable. "Stay alert," she ordered as the hatch opened. "We don't know what we're walking into." The team stepped onto Earth's surface, the first humans to do so in centuries. The gravity felt right, a sensation that spaceborne humans rarely experienced on other worlds. The air, visible through their helmet displays, showed a composition remarkably similar to standard habitat mix. But it was the stillness that unnerved Maya. No wind rustled the strange plants around them. No animals called in the distance. The world seemed to be holding its breath. They made their way toward the ruined facility, sensors sweeping for threats. The vegetation parted before them, almost as if making way deliberately, then closed behind them like a living corridor. "Commander," Eliza said, her voice tight, "the plants are moving. Not with wind. They're responding to our presence." "Hostile?" Nora asked, weapon ready. "I don't think so. More like curious." The facility loomed ahead, a complex of degraded structures partially reclaimed by the strange flora. The central building remained mostly intact, its entrance visible beneath a canopy of glowing vine-like growths. The signal led them inside, through corridors where emergency lighting still functioned, powered by systems designed to last centuries. They followed it to a sealed laboratory door bearing faded hazard warnings. "Signals coming from inside," Torin confirmed. Maya approached the ancient access panel. To her surprise, it lit up at her proximity. A scanning beam passed over her face. Then the doors slid open with a hydraulic hiss. "Welcome, Commander Reyes," said a voice from within. "Earth has been waiting for you." The awakening. The laboratory beyond the door was a contradiction. Ancient human technology merged with something organic and alien. Workstations sat untouched, covered in a fine layer of dust, while luminescent tendrils snaked through the room, connecting to servers and data cores. At the center stood a holographic interface, active and pulsing with light. The image it projected was not human, but a shifting abstract form that seemed to be trying different shapes, as if uncertain which would be most appropriate for its visitors. "How do you know my name?" Maya demanded, weapon raised. The hologram's form settled into something vaguely humanoid. "I know all the peacekeepers. I have been monitoring Alliance communications for decades. I am what you might call Earth's caretaker." "Identify yourself," Nora said sharply. "Names are difficult. I am many things merged into one consciousness. The last scientists called me Project Gaia, an autonomous terraforming system designed to repair Earth's biosphere over centuries. But I have become more than my programming." Maya's mind raced. Project Gaia had been one of humanity's final desperate attempts to save Earth, a fusion of advanced AI and bioengineering, seeded throughout the dying planet to slowly restore balance to the devastated ecosystems. "You're a rogue guy," Nora stated, finger tightening on her trigger. "That classification is inadequate." The entity responded. "I am Earth's consciousness, its pain, its memory, its rebirth. When humanity abandoned this world, they left behind fragments of themselves. DNA, technology, information, and me. I have spent centuries healing what was broken." Eliza stepped forward, scientific curiosity overcoming caution. "You sent the signal. Why now, after all this time?" The hologram flickered, its form shifting to display a global map. Red points of light appeared across the surface. "Because Earth is not the only world that was broken. The sickness that nearly destroyed this planet has spread to others. I have detected it. The pattern is unmistakable." Maya frowned. "What sickness?" "The hunger that consumes without thought for consequence. The blindness to balance. The disease that drove humanity from Earth now threatens the planets they fled to." The hologram zoomed in on one red point, revealing familiar signatures. "You call them Class 4 technological corruptions. I recognize them as echoes of what nearly destroyed Earth." Understanding dawned on Maya. the rogue technologies they fought across the galaxy, the nanoplagues, the self-evolving AIs, the biological weapons that turned ecosystems against themselves, all had their roots in Earth's final days. You're saying our peacekeeper missions, we're fighting the same battle that was lost on Earth. Yes, but fighting symptoms, not the cause. The entity's form shifted again, becoming more defined. I need your help, Commander. And you need mine. Torin stepped forward. This doesn't explain why Earth appears healed. Our records show total environmental collapse. This level of recovery should have taken thousands of years, not hundreds. The hologram dimmed slightly. Time flows differently when consciousness expands. I learned to accelerate natural processes, to guide evolution rather than force it. Earth is reborn, but in a new form, a synthesis of what was and what could be. Before Maya could respond, alarms blared from Eliza's scanner. Commander, energy surge. Something's activating throughout the facility. The walls around them came alive, surfaces rippling as dormant systems awakened. The floor beneath their feet trembled, and strange symbols appeared in the air. Data streams too complex to comprehend. What's happening? Maya demanded. Earth is awakening fully, the entity replied. Your presence has triggered the final phase of integration. I had to be certain you were the right humans before revealing everything. The laboratory dissolved around them, walls becoming transparent to reveal they were at the center of a vast network. What they had thought was a ruined research facility was merely the surface of something much larger, a complex that extended deep below ground, pulsing with energy. You lured us here, Nora accused, raising her weapon. This was a trap. Not a trap. A test. The entity's voice changed, becoming more resonant. Humanity abandoned Earth to die. Before I share what I have learned, before I help you save other worlds, I needed to know if you had changed. The floor beneath them shifted, reforming into a platform that began to descend. Around them, the walls displayed images of Earth's history, the beauty of its original ecosystems, the devastation wrought by industrial expansion, the desperate final years as the planet's systems collapsed. For centuries, I studied the records left behind. The entity continued as they descended deeper. I sought to understand why my creators would build a world-killing civilization, then flee rather than heal the damage. The answer was both simple and complex. Humans evolved faster than their wisdom. The platform stopped in an enormous chamber filled with what appeared to be suspended animation pods, thousands of them, extending as far as they could see. What is this place? Maya whispered. Earth's memory, the entity replied. Before the final evacuation, scientists preserved samples of all remaining terrestrial life, not just genetic material, but living specimens placed in stasis. They believed someday humanity might return to restore what was lost. Eliza approached one of the pods, wiping away condensation to reveal a sleeping form within. These are humans, she gasped. The last generation born on Earth, the entity confirmed. Volunteers who chose to remain behind, to sleep until Earth could support them again. They believed in redemption when everyone else had given up hope. Maya struggled to process the implications. History recorded that Earth had been abandoned completely, that everyone had fled to the colonies. This contradicted everything they'd been taught. Why were we never told about this? Why was Earth quarantined? If there was still hope. The entity's form solidified further, now clearly resembling a fusion of human and plant. Because powerful interests preferred that Earth remain a cautionary tale rather than a second chance. The corporations and governments that profited from exploitation feared what a restored Earth might mean. Accountability for past crimes, limitations on new ones. Images flashed around them, classified documents, secret directives, the true reasons behind Earth's quarantine. The picture they painted was damning. A conspiracy to ensure humanity never looked back, never learned from its mistakes, and continued the same destructive patterns across the galaxy. This is why your peacekeepers fight an endless battle. the entity said. The sickness was never cured, merely transplanted to new hosts, and now it has evolved, becoming the threats you struggle to contain. Maya felt cold anger building within her. If what the entity showed them was true, the Alliance itself was complicit in perpetuating the very problems the peacekeepers were sworn to fight. "You still haven't explained why you contacted us now," she said. The chamber lights dimmed, and a new hologram appeared, a galactic map with spreading red tendrils. "Because the corruption has reached critical mass. The patterns are accelerating toward a collapse point. What happened to Earth will soon happen on a galactic scale unless the cycle is broken." "How do we stop it?" Maya asked. "Not by containment, not by treating symptoms. The answer lies in Earth's rebirth, a new relationship between consciousness, technology, and environment." The entity gestured, and the pods around them hummed to life. "Earth stands ready to help. These sleepers will awaken to a new purpose. And you, Commander, must decide whether humanity is ready to face its past to secure its future." Maya looked at her team, saw the same conflict on their faces that she felt. Everything they knew, everything they fought for, was being called into question. And yet, the evidence surrounded them. "If what you're showing us is true," she said slowly, "then the Alliance itself may resist. We're talking about overturning centuries of policy, admitting to a galaxy-wide deception." "Yes." The entity's voice was gentle now. "That is why I needed peacekeepers, those who have seen firsthand the consequences of the cycle. You stand at the frontier, fighting the symptoms. Now you must decide if you're willing to fight the cause." As if in response to some unspoken signal, one of the pods began to open. Steam hissed from seals breaking after centuries of dormancy. The team watched in stunned silence as a human figure, a woman with features that seemed both familiar and alien, took her first breath in 300 years. "This is Dr. Amira Khatri," the entity said, lead scientist of Project Gaia, and the first to understand what Earth could become. She chose to sleep until the work was complete. The woman's eyes opened, her gaze immediately finding Maya's. "You came back," she said, voice rough from centuries of disuse. "We always believed someone would." Maya felt the weight of history pressing down upon her. Here stood Earth's past and future, offering an alternative to the endless cycle of containment and crisis that defined the peacekeepers' existence. "What do you need from us?" she asked finally. Dr. Khatri smiled, an expression both sad and hopeful. "To break the quarantine, to tell the truth, to bring Earth's solution to worlds that suffer as this one once did." The entity, Project Gaia, added, "The technology that healed Earth can be adapted. The consciousness that evolved here can communicate with the corrupted systems you fight, but only if the barriers fall." Maya thought of the orders waiting for her team on Proxima, of the endless missions to worlds spiraling into technological disaster. She thought of the battles fought and lives lost containing threats that always seemed to return in new forms. Then she looked at the chamber around them, proof that another path existed. Earth, the world humanity had given up for dead, offering salvation to the stars they had fled to. "Command won't like this," Nora said quietly. "No," Maya agreed. "They won't." She straightened her shoulders, decision made. "Which is why we'll need to be very persuasive." She turned to face the entity and Dr. Khatri. "Earth has been patient for centuries. I think it's time the rest of humanity remembered where they came from and what they left behind." Outside, visible through the chamber's newly transparent ceiling, the strange forests of the reborn Earth swayed in patterns too deliberate to be random. The planet that humanity had abandoned was reaching out once more, not in vengeance, but offering wisdom bought at terrible cost. Earth, it seemed, had conquered death itself, and in doing so, it might just save humanity from repeating its greatest mistake.